mothers, grandmothers, from the United States to the Philippines, from Canada to Ireland, India, the UK, and Australia. I know you are awake. I know your hearts are heavy in the middle of the night. Medjugorje. Our Lady appears and reveals the name of the 7 cities that will be in darkness, urgent. Listen to me carefully. Do not scroll past this. Your maternal intuition is not lying to you. What is this darkness? It is not a power grid failure. It is not an economic collapse. It is a terrifying spiritual blackout. It is the suffocating shadow that descends when humanity violently pushes God out of our homes. When the visionary Mirjana Soldo received these secrets from Our Lady, she trembled so violently that the Blessed Mother had to physically embrace her. Mirjana wept bitterly, because what she saw was not a vengeful God punishing us. She saw the horrifying natural consequence of a world that deliberately chooses to blindfold itself. Look around you. Look at your children. Look at your precious grandchildren. Are you not terrified? They are growing up in a soulless plastic world, a world that violently mocks the cross, a world where screens replace scripture, where sheer arrogance replaces the Holy Rosary. Whole generations are being raised without ever learning how to bend their knees in true humility. Do you feel that suffocating grip on their innocent souls? How many nights have you cried, watching them drift further and further from the church? Who will protect them when the visible structures finally collapse? You feel helpless, don't you? But heaven does not leave us orphans. Our Lady gave us a shield. Tonight, I will reveal the names of these 7 cities marked for darkness. But more importantly, if you stay with me until the very end, I will give you the exact spiritual weapon Our Lady handed down to us. I will show you how a very simple, specific source of light can turn your living room window into an impenetrable spiritual fortress, an armor that hell itself cannot breach. Stay with me. Do it for your family, because among the 7 cities that Our Lady wept over, there is one name that makes the world shudder. New York. Our Lady does not look at symbols of human progress. She looks directly at spiritual realities. And the spiritual reality of New York is a city that has transformed itself into the ultimate altar of money, of power, of unbridled excess. It is the modern Tower of Babel. Its magnificent skyscrapers are temples dedicated not to the Creator, but to capital. It is a place where human structures of power have deliberately chosen to place profit above life, above dignity, and above divine law. Our Lady warned that the darkness over such empires always comes from the inside out. It does not begin with a visible invasion. It begins with a silent collapse of the heart, a sudden realization that a civilization built on prosperity without virtue is nothing more than a heavy house built on shifting sand. To understand what this coming spiritual darkness will look like, you must look at what has already happened. The physical world always mirrors the spiritual realm. I want you to go back in your mind. Close your eyes and drag your memory back to a Tuesday morning, September 11th, 2001. The sky over Manhattan was a piercing, cloudless blue, a perfect morning of human commerce and arrogance. And then, in an instant, reality was violently torn apart. I want you to remember the smell. It was not just smoke. It was the acrid, chemical stench of burning jet fuel, pulverized concrete, melting steel, and atomized glass. A toxic, choking cloud of heavy gray ash roared through the narrow canyons of Wall Street, swallowing the morning light, plunging the financial capital of the world into an immediate, suffocating midnight. Men and women in expensive suits were running blind, coughing up debris covered in the pulverized ash of their own shattered monuments. But right there, in the very heart of that apocalyptic darkness, a miracle of supreme historical fatalism occurred. Less than 100 meters from the epicenter of Ground Zero, right on Berkeley Street, stood St. Peter's Roman Catholic Church. It is the oldest Catholic parish in New York. As the Twin Towers collapsed, sending hundreds of thousands of tons of steel and concrete crashing to the earth with the force of an earthquake, everything around it was decimated. A massive piece of airplane landing gear was blasted through the roof of St. Peter's. Yet, look at the chilling reality of the scene. Inside that church, amidst the violent shock waves that leveled the mightiest financial towers on earth, the main altar of God remained completely intact. The statues of the Blessed Virgin Mary and the saints stood silently, completely untouched by the devastation, while the structures of human pride were vaporized in a fiery collapse. The house of God stood firm, sheltering the terrified souls who blindly crawled through its heavy wooden doors to escape the suffocating dust outside. And there is a second, undeniable numerical truth from that morning, a stark, cold fact permanently recorded in the official archives of history. As the towers burned, while thousands scrambled in panic to escape, one man ran directly into the darkness of the North Tower lobby. Father Michael Judge, a Catholic priest. He did not run in with a weapon. He ran in with the sacraments. As bodies fell from the sky and the building groaned under the catastrophic stress of impending collapse, Father Judge stood in the suffocating black dust, his hands raised, granting general absolution and reciting the final prayers over the dying. He was struck and killed by falling debris while performing his sacred duty. When the authorities recovered his body and began the grim task of cataloging the dead, Father Michael Judge was assigned a very specific number, death certificate number 0001, the very first officially recorded victim of the collapse of the financial capital of the world, was a Catholic priest, martyred while offering the mercy of Christ. Do you see the profound revelation hidden in this history? It is a stark preview of what is coming to the 7 cities. When the billions of dollars evaporated into toxic dust, when the stock market froze, when the absolute pinnacle of human wealth and power was reduced to twisted metal and ashes in a matter of seconds, what was the only thing that remained? Faith, the altar, the sacraments, the blood of a martyr. The physical collapse of New York in 2001 was merely a mirror reflecting the coming spiritual collapse. When the real, palpable spiritual darkness descends upon the world, all your bank accounts, all your political strategies, and all your earthly preparations will turn to dust in your hands. Only the spiritual bastions will stand. So, what is your protocol? Our Lady did not come to the stony, desolate hills of Medjugorje to deliver a theatrical tragedy. She came to arm the remnant. She came to hand you, the mothers and grandmothers watching this right now, the exact tactical spiritual protocol to protect your bloodline. When the spiritual darkness bleeds directly into the physical streets of your city, the ballistic weapons of men are utterly useless. The answer lies in a single, flickering flame an uncompromising routine of self-denial, and a relentless clinical chain of prayer. Listen to me with every fiber of your being. To establish an impenetrable perimeter around your family, you must first acquire a candle made of 100% pure beeswax. It must be pure, unadulterated beeswax. Why this organic material? Because for 2 millennia, the ancient theology of the Church has recognized the virgin worker bee as a profound biological symbol of the Blessed Virgin Mary. The pristine wax they produce represents the immaculate, sinless flesh of Jesus Christ himself. The tightly woven wick represents his human soul, and the fire that consumes it is the terrifying, illuminating power of his divinity. You must take this pure beeswax candle to your parish priest. Look him directly in the eye and ask him to consecrate it with the traditional rites of blessing. Then you must lightly sprinkle it with holy water, water that has been exorcised, transforming it into a tangible physical weapon that burns the demonic realm like acid. When you do this, you are no longer holding a simple household item. You are holding a consecrated torch of the Roman catacombs. You must take this candle and place it by your window. The window is the physical threshold, the active borderland between the sacred sanctuary of your family and the terror of the secular streets outside. Light it. The faint organic scent of that pure burning wax is the scent of a holy sanctuary. That solitary flame piercing the gloom establishes a strict, undeniable boundary line. It acts as a blinding high-frequency searchlight in the spiritual realm, but the physical candle is only the anchor. It must be ignited and sustained by the violent force of your prayer. And there is a precise hour when the fabric between heaven and earth is torn wide open. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the hour of great mercy. This is not a symbolic time frame. It is the exact historical and forensic hour when the Son of God, his lungs filling with fluid, suffering from extreme hypovolemic shock, exhaled his final breath on the rough wood of the cross. At this precise hour, the rigid justice of God is completely suspended by the catastrophic hemorrhage of his mercy. When the clock strikes 3 p.m., I do not care what mundane task you are doing. You stop. You drop to your knees on the hard floor. You gather whatever children or grandchildren are in the house. If they are distracted and refuse to kneel, you kneel for them. You stare into that burning beeswax candle and you pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet. For the sake of his sorrowful passion, have mercy on us and on the whole world. You dictate these words not as a song, but as a relentless, staccato heartbeat. Every single time you utter that phrase, you are aggressively pulling down the blood and water that gushed from the pierced ventricle of Christ to wash over the roof of your house. It is an active, real-time exorcism of your living space. It cuts through the paralyzing noise of the modern world and acts as a direct counter-offensive against the spiritual apathy that is slowly suffocating your grandchildren. Furthermore, this localized defense must be reinforced daily by the tactical arsenal Our Lady explicitly outlined. She called them her 5 stones, mirroring the 5 smooth, deadly stones a young David carried into the valley to crush the skull of Goliath. These are not pious suggestions for the excessively religious. They are the absolute clinical laws of spiritual survival. First, the Holy Rosary. 5 decades every single day. Do not just recite it, weaponize it. Every wooden bead that slips through your weathered fingers is another iron link in the heavy chain that binds the ancient serpent, trying to devour your family's future. Every Hail Mary is a hammer blow to the kingdom of darkness. Second, fasting. On Wednesdays and Fridays, consume only bread and water. We live in a gluttonous culture that worships physical comfort. Fasting is the deliberate, clinical starvation of the flesh in order to exponentially amplify the frequency of the spirit. It actively starves the demonic attachments that feed on our daily indulgences. Third, confession at least once a month. This is a forensic cleansing of the soul. It seals the microscopic fractures in your spiritual armor where the enemy quietly gains entry. Fourth, the daily reading of the Holy Bible. It is the raw, uncorrupted data of divine truth in a world drowning in synthetic lies. Read it out loud in your home so the very physical walls absorb the Word of God. And fifth, prayer of the heart. Not a bureaucratic obligation, but a raw, desperate, authentic dialogue with the Creator. When you combine these elements, the pure beeswax candle anointed with holy water, the relentless 3 p.m. Divine Mercy chaplet, and the ironclad discipline of the 5 stones, you are constructing an invisible, impenetrable cathedral around your loved ones. Let the 7 cities outside succumb to their arrogant darkness. Let the modern towers of Babel crumble under the crushing weight of their own corruption. Inside your home, the air will remain clinical, clear, and holy. The light will hold. The entities that roam the streets, looking for souls paralyzed by fear, will see the flickering light of your consecrated candle. They will hear the staccato rhythm of your rosary, and they will pass over your door. You are a mother, you are a grandmother, you are the final line of defense. Take absolute control of the spiritual atmosphere of your home, because while you secure the perimeter of your own home, you must open your eyes to the terrifying reality accelerating across the globe. The darkness is not a local anomaly, it is a global plague. Listen to the relentless drumbeat of the falling cities. Look at Rome, the very epicenter of the Christian West, now fractured, bleeding from internal division, choked by political agendas that actively betray the pure gospel. Our Lady wept bitterly for Rome. Look at Paris, the historical capital of human arrogance, a city that systematically treated faith as a disease of the ignorant. Remember April 2019, the flames tearing through the ancient roof of Notre Dame. The world stood paralyzed. That was not a mere structural fire, it was a glaring prophetic omen that human intellect will burn to ashes when it severs its cord to the divine. Look to Moscow, a city that replaced state atheism with a terrifying, distorted spirituality, a cold, calculated pride that weaponizes religion to justify unspeakable bloodshed. The shockwaves of their pride will violently drag other nations into the abyss. Look at Tokyo, a masterpiece of human engineering, a city of immaculate order, yet structurally hollowed out. A society that replaced the sacred soul with the sterile efficiency of machinery and technological performance. When a culture is engineered for perfection but not for holiness, the spiritual void becomes a massive gateway for demonic entry. And look south to São Paulo, the sprawling giant where massive temples crowd the streets, yet faith has been violently commercialized. The Holy Gospel reduced to a cheap transaction for prosperity, while the isolated individual rots in a culture of greed. But there is one city that shatters the heart of the Mother of God more than any other: Jerusalem, the literal, physical beating heart of the world. This is the sacred dust where the Son of God physically walked, where his flesh was violently torn open, and where his blood permanently stained the earth. And today, look at it, consumed by visceral hatred, locked in endless warfare, choking on violence. The spiritual warfare raging over Jerusalem transcends all human military analysis. Our Lady of Peace looks at the city of her Son and weeps tears of unimaginable agony. The darkness descending on Jerusalem is the most dense, and it will violently reverberate across every single continent. She is begging you, do not abandon the Holy Land to the grip of hatred. You must pray for Jerusalem. Make the peace of Jerusalem your daily agonizing plea. Mothers in the United States, grandmothers in the Philippines, faithful remnants holding the line in Canada, Australia, India, Ireland, and the United Kingdom. Do you hear the ticking of the celestial clock? It is deafening. Our Lady has warned us repeatedly. The time is passing. Understand this with absolute clinical clarity. She is not talking about the chronological time of your earthly life. She is talking about the time of grace, the era of divine mercy. That time is not eternal. The heavy iron doors of mercy are slowly, methodically swinging shut. The window for global conversion is closing right before your eyes. You cannot afford to wait for tomorrow. You cannot wait until the physical grid goes down. The time to fall on your knees is now. The spiritual war is no longer approaching. It is already here, and it is banging on your front door. Now, I need you to exhale. Let the heavy air out of your lungs. Let the panic and the adrenaline completely dissolve. The noise of the world is deafening, but heaven operates in profound, undisturbed silence. The empires of men will fracture. Their towering monuments will inevitably turn to dust, but understand this with absolute certainty. The soul that anchors itself to the Immaculate Heart of Mary will never perish. She is the ultimate ark. When the floodwaters of spiritual desolation rise, she does not lose the children entrusted to her. Look at your own hands. They are weathered. They have carried the heavy physical and emotional burdens of your family for decades. Do not despair over your inability to leave your children vast financial portfolios or secure real estate in a world that is rapidly decaying. Those things are mere dust. The absolute greatest, most indestructible inheritance you will ever pass down your bloodline is the clinical reality of your spiritual protection. It is the invisible shield you systematically forge on your knees. When a child grows up with the permanent, burned-in memory of their grandmother kneeling in the quiet hours of the morning, gripping a rosary, that child is given an iron anchor, a spiritual tether that no cultural collapse and no demonic influence can ever sever. You are giving them the ultimate survival protocol. Right now, wherever you are sitting, whether it is the middle of the night or the break of dawn, I want you to close your eyes. Stop looking at this screen. Close them completely and shut out the physical world. Take your right hand and place it firmly over your left chest. Feel the steady biological rhythm of your own heart. That heartbeat is the precise time of grace God has granted you. In the quiet darkness of your mind, I want you to clearly visualize that single pure beeswax candle burning steadily on your windowsill. See the golden light pushing back the heavy shadows. Its flame is perfectly still, unshaken. The world outside the glass is roaring in chaos, but inside your walls, the atmosphere is clear, pristine, and filled with an absolute, terrifying peace. Now, without speaking out loud, repeat this exact prayer silently in the sanctuary of your mind. Father, I surrender my need to control what I cannot understand. I cannot stop the collapse of the world, but I trust your providence. Blessed Mother, I hand over my children to you. I hand over my grandchildren. Hide them deep within the immaculate folds of your mantle. Erase the spiritual footprint of my family. Make my home completely invisible to the passing darkness. Let that profound peace settle deep into your bones. If you truly believe that the quiet, relentless prayer of a faithful mother can alter the tragic course of human history, then you must leave your mark right now. Open your eyes, go down into the comments below, and type this exact, specific phrase. Mother, please protect my home and my city. And right next to it, type the name of your country. Do not omit your nation. Tonight, when the world goes to sleep, in the absolute silence of my own sanctuary, I will gather every single one of those comments, every single nation listed, and I will place them directly beneath the wood of my crucifix. I will carry your family into the hour of mercy. You are not isolated in this war. Subscribe to this channel so our ranks remain tightly connected. Share this transmission immediately with every mother and grandmother who feels the crushing weight of the coming night. Because as long as there is one pure candle burning quietly in the window of a faithful home, the darkness has already lost. The victory is already written.